And so this is my kOZmo Graydle deck. You know, Graydles are pretty good. They're a nice little splashable engine. Technically they're like a little anti-meta engine, right? Because of the fact that your opponent's gonna have a strong deck. They're gonna have, you know, monsters with really good effects, and you know they're gonna have combos and stuff. And the ability to just summon a monster, attack, take a little bit of damage, or even a lot of damage. But the main thing is you're gonna get to take their ace monster, their ace card, and you know beat them down with their own power. So it's a really powerful concept. So obviously I splashed it in with the kOZmos, because kOZmos have their own small little fun engine. So as you can see, I got kOZmo Full Runner, kOZmo Farm Girl, and the kOZmo Town. So all you really need to play out the little engine, little kOZmo engine, because kOZmo Farm Girl, when she deals damage, you can add a level 4 or higher. You can add a kOZmo monster. You can add a kOZmo card from your deck to your hand. During either player's turn, you can banish this card to special summon a level 4 or higher kOZmo monster from your hand, and you can only use that effect once per turn. But the second effect, the last part of the effect, that could be used more than once if you deal battle damage more than once with multiple copies of Farm Girl. Then your main target is Forerunner. Unless you already have Forerunner, then you can go for the field spell kOZmo Town. Forerunner's effect cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect, so that's good against Deep Prism, Magic Cylinder, Compulse, Wing Blast, Regeki Break, stuff like that. You know, Book of Moon. You know, Lance, Forbidden Chalice, Breakthrough Skills, Phoenix Chain, so on and so on. A lot of cards target, so this is good against that. If I'm right, Graydle targets, so this is good against that. I think Rainbow Graydle targets as well, and you know, this goes on and on of numerous amount of monsters that do have targeting effects that Forerunner can't be targeted by, so it makes them really powerful. He's a nice little 2800 that can't be targeted by your opponent's card effect. You can target by your own effects. You can lance it if you want. During your standby phase, gain 1,000 life points. That's awesome. That's useful if you're at a tournament and you run out of time in your duel, and since you have more life points than your opponent, you'll win. So it could be good in time. Just gaining life is, it's just good in general, because the more life points you have, the longer it takes for your opponent to beat you, the better chance you have of beating them before that happens, right? If this card is destroyed by a battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one level 6 or lower kOZmo monster from your deck. The only target you have is Farm Girl, and as you can see, it's a little loop, because you bring out Farm Girl, use Farm Girl, deal damage, get back Forerunner, use Farm Girl's effect, banishing her to summon Forerunner, and then there you go, you got Forerunner again. So nice little floating engine. Then of course you can use the kOZmo Town to recycle all that stuff, and if you can make a level 4 by using the girls to steal some level 4s, you can make Emerald, Gusto Emerald, and recycle any of the monsters you have in the graveyard, and continue looping. Graydle Eagle, if this card in your monster zone is destroyed by battle or a monster effect and sent to graveyard, target monster opponent controls and steal it. Alright, take control of it. If this card is destroyed while equipped to a monster, the monster is destroyed as well. Same goes for Graydle Cobra, except if this card is destroyed by a trap card effect and sent to a graveyard, it does this effect. And same goes for Graydle Alligator, except If this is destroyed by a spell card effect, you get the effect. So let's say you have this set face down. Your opponent has a big monster on the field. Then they decide to play Regeki, destroy your face down monster. Which is alligator. You get the effect and steal their big monster. Graydle Cobra is good against like Mirror Force, for example, because you'll summon it, you'll attack to steal your opponent's monster. They'll try to defend it, be like, oh, I use Mirror Force to prevent you from stealing my monster, but what they actually did was prevent you from losing battle damage, and you end up stealing their monster anyway. But of course, the best thing for them to do would be to let you take battle damage, let you steal their monster. When they attack you with their monster, then Mirror Force. But if their monster can't be destroyed by a card effect like Beelzebub or something like that, or whatever you call it, BOZ, right? There he is. Now, if your opponent has that and has a Mirror Force, and you attack with Cobra, you're in a win-win scenario, because whether they Mirror Force this and you get him anyway, or they let you take 2,000 damage and then you steal this, they can't. There's no point Mirror Forcing this because this can't be destroyed by battle card effect. So it's like, they're in a lose-lose scenario. And of course, Graydle Eagle. If you have this set face down, and your opponent activates Judgment Dragon's effect, or Exoton Knight's effect, or Black Rose Dragon's effect, you'll be able to steal Exoton or Judgment Dragon. Can't steal Black Rose because Black Rose will go to the graveyard, part of his effect. But you get the idea. kOZmo Town, once per turn, you can target one of your banished kOZmo monsters and return to your hand. If you do, lose life points equal to its original level times 100, which means if you get kOZmo Farm Girl, you'll lose 300 life, and if you get Forerunner, you'll lose 700 life. So you'll be losing a total of 1,000 to loop them, but because Forerunner lets you gain 1,000 every time it's your standby phase, it's almost like it's free. And if you stall long enough with him, you'll get more back than you paid. Also, if this card is destroyed by a card effect, when you play it in the field zone, of course, you can add a kOZmo card from your deck to your hand. Typically, if I play kOZmo Town and somebody destroys it, I just grab another copy of kOZmo Town and activate it. But sometimes you might just want to get your main combo piece, Farm Girl or Forerunner, whichever one you need. And it also has the ability that you can also, once per turn, take kOZmo monsters in your hand, shuffle them back into your deck, and draw. Supply Squad. Once per turn, if a monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, draw one card. As you can see, that works pretty well with these archetypes. So, because you're gonna be deliberately, having monsters die result of battle to steal your opponent's monster, so you're gonna get a +1 out of it. If you have 2 on the field, they stack, so you get +2 out of your monsters being destroyed by battle or card effect. If you have 3, you draw 3 every time that happens. So it's a perfect, little scenario. Draw engine. Plus you got your anti-meta engine, and then you got your little floating engine. A lot of power in there. A lot of power, and it's fun. A nice simple design, not too complicated, and hopefully it's budget. Galaxy Cyclone, not cheap. That's not really a budget card until it gets reprinted, I guess, right? But it's a good card. Target one set spell or trap card on the field, destroy it during your main phase, except the turn in which this card went to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one face-up spell or trap card on the field, and destroy it. You can only use that effect once per turn. So that's useful, obviously, to get rid of back row, pendulum monsters, to mess up your opponent's pendulum scale. Stuff like Banny's Emptiness, Skill Drain, anything of that nature that could be problematic. Light Imprisoning, for example. Since these have to do with banishing Imperial on wall, you can well, you can't use this effect to pop Iron Wall. That's where MST comes in. Because you got to banish this in order to pop Iron Wall, and Iron Wall won't let you banish this, so you're going to need an MST for that. An MST quick place. Obviously, it's generic, basic. You should know how to use this. Wing Blast, useful against things that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. This effect does target, so it won't be useful against your opponent's Forerunner, but it'll be useful against a lot of other things. Also, by putting a card your opponent controls on top of the deck, slows them down from drawing into anything good, especially if they set a trap and then you use this to throw the trap back on top of the deck. They'll have to draw that card again, and then they have to set it again. So that's just a turn being wasted for them. That's just a turn being wasted for them. This is also useful in a scenario where your opponent plays a card like a search card. Let's say your opponent hypothetically has Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field, and you know they're gonna attack. You know they're gonna attack you with it. No, let's not go with Blue Eyes. Something a little bit simpler. What could be easily summoned but strong? Let's just say hypothetically, Cyber Dragon, right? Cyber Dragon. Hypothetically. It doesn't even have to be Cyber Dragon. It could be something, yeah, Cyber Dragon. We'll go with Cyber Dragon. So your opponent has Cyber Dragon. Let's say he plays Reinforcement in an Army to get like Junk Synchron from his deck, right? That was his goal. So once he activates Reinforcement Army, what you could do is play Wing Blast, send Cyber Dragon to the top of the deck. Then, after your trap resolve, of course, and Cyber Dragon's on top of the deck, Reinforcement will resolve and let them add Junk Synchron from the deck to the hand, which means they'll shuffle, which means Cyber Dragon is shuffled back into the deck, so they're not going to have Cyber Dragon for Junk Synchron, so they can Synchro. Granted, you could wait until they Synchro, but if they Synchro into something that can't be targeted, then that will suck. Or if they manage to Synchro into something that would, just by being summoned, can destroy, your cards, and stuff like that, like Junk Destroyer. Yeah, I think you use, if I'm right, you can use 2 materials to make Junk Destroyer. So, if so, you're kind of screwed on that, because you're gonna get, you do. You can use. Let me double check. I think you do. It has to. I think I have it in my deck, right? Yeah, one or more. Yeah, Junk Destroyer. Boom, make Junk Destroyer. He's gonna get his effect regardless if you Wing Blast him. So to prevent that, you can Wing Blast the Cyber Dragon and blah blah blah. You get the idea. Moving on. Black Horn of Heaven. That's for Pendulum Summoning. Also useful against Exceed monsters and against Synchro monsters, like Junk Destroyer, which destroyed cards, Black Rose, stuff like that, Stardust, so on and so on. Good against Judgment Dragon, BLS, Ritual Beast, fusion monsters. So that's what that's there for. Color Haunted, so you can recycle, your Graydles, get their effects over and over again. You know what I mean? Bring them back, attack, supply unit draw, take your opponent's monster, and just have a lot of fun with that. One typical target for this is Cobra, because if Call of Haunt is destroyed, Cobra's effect will activate. So it's not like for example, let's say your opponent has a 3000 and they attack, then you'd be like, alright, Call of Haunted, and for some reason they don't have anything. You Call of Haunted, bring back your Cobra, then they decide, not to replay, not to attack, because they don't want you to steal their monster. Let's say they go main phase, they set a Mirror Force. Let's pretend, it is Belzy of the Diabolic Dragons, right? So they don't want you to steal it. There. Oh no. If it's Cobra, it wouldn't matter, because they should know better. You're gonna get your effect. Let's say it's D Prison, so they're trying to be slick, right? They'll use D Prison, because because deprison doesn't destroy it, it vanishes. So they set the deprison, they end their turn. You know, it's like, alright, good, I have a strategy. But then what you do is during their end phase, you know, use your MST, destroy your Call Haunted. Call Haunted destroys Cobra. Cobra's effect activates, and then you can take the ability, and then they'll be pretty mad. Your turn, you draw them. Now you have the ability. Granted, they could use the deprison on Belzy, but whatever, you still got their monster. You know, you'll figure it out of the things you want to do. But also is useful if you just don't want to take damage, because you could just Call a Haunted, bring him back, MST the Call Haunted, or use Galaxy Cyclones in the graveyard to destroy Call Haunted to get his effect without having to attack and lose life points. Or you want, you know, you don't want this, you know, your monster to get banished by like a deprison or something. You know, you wanna steal something. And if they deprison something, it's better to deprison their own monster than deprisoning your monsters. And you could always draw another Call Haunted or Soul Charge, bring them back, you know, all that good stuff. It's up to you. I like using Call Haunted, but Salvage is pretty good as well. It just you can't use it during opponent's turn, obviously, because it's a normal spell. But Salvage is pretty good, you know. If you want to go heavier on spells, Salvage is a good card to recycle your Graydles. And of course, Graydle Parasite helps you when your opponent declares a direct attack against you. You can special summon one Graydle monster from your deck in face of attack position. You just gotta have no monsters to activate and resolve this effect. If you attack with a Graydle monster, opponent has no monster on the side of the field, you can special summon a monster from graveyard. It causes a replay. You attack with a Graydle monster. Graydle monster dies. You get the effect, steal their monster, like a Blue Eyes, for example, and attack them with their own Blue Eyes. So it's kind of like a continuous trap version of like Monster Reborn. So you could essentially Monster Reborn during each of your battle phases. So that's just a really, really awesome card. Very powerful. Again, anti-meta. It's just great in general. Like, the thing is interesting about this is that it's anti-meta, but it's meta at the same time, right? Because these abilities are so good that why not, you know, main deck them? Why not meta, right? Why it would be the meta because it's just so good. And Soul Charge, just so you can bring back your top runners, your Graydles, stuff like that, you know. So you can get pluses out of Supply Squad if they get destroyed. And you can go into exceed plays, you know, since the Graydles are 3s, you can go into couple, you know, some rank 3s. Forerunner is a 7, so you can go into a rank 7 like Dracossack. He's pretty good. Acid Golem in case your opponent has skill drain. You want a nice little 3000 beater. This is pretty useful. Make a equip engineer. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach himself from this card. Target one face-up attack position, how your control changes to face-up defense position. If you do, you can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. Typically, target itself, and you have a nice little defense. Another card, detach a material. Target one set card, destroy it. He has other effects, but that's the main one you'll use. Leviar, detach a material. Target one level 4 or lower monster that's banished, and special summon the target to your side of the field. It's useful in case you don't have the kOZmo Town field spell and you have Graydles. You can use the Graydles to make Leviar. Use Leviar to get back Farm Girl. Use Farm Girl's ability to deal damage, and then get Forerunner, and then use her effect to summon Forerunner, and then attack with Forerunner, and you know, deal a decent amount of damage. That right there alone directly is 4,300 points of damage. So that's half your life points off of 2 cards. So that's what makes it really, really good. Nice little, you know, little battle engine, little damage engine. Winding up Zen main, 2100 defense. If it would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach myself. During the end phase, once per turn during the end phase, if this card effect was used, target one card on the field and destroy it. Emerald, if you manage to get 2 level 4 monsters, you can overlay and make this. Detach material, target 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck, then draw a card. That's the effect you use the most. It has a secondary effect, which is target 1 non-effect monster in your graveyard, special summon the target. That's decent, but pretty much every monster in this deck is effect, so it's not a big deal. Exoton, same thing, 2 level 4s, overlay, detach. During once per turn during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, if your opponent has more total cards in their hand and their side of the field than you do, detach material and destroy all other cards on the field, and your opponent takes no damage this turn. This is a quick effect. Obviously, sometimes you gotta clear the field. Sometimes your opponent has too much power. You gotta balance that out. 101, useful for stealing monsters that are just big and strong. This effect does target, so it's not useful against a kOZmo Forerunner, Obelisk Tormentor, anything of that nature. It's useful against any other monster that was special summoned and is in attack mode. And also this has the effect that if it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, detach a material instead. Castiel, the Sky Blaster. Detach 2 materials, target 1 face-up card on the field, and shuffle it back into the owner's deck. That's the main effect you'll use the most. It's useful against, field spells and stuff like that. I've even seen this be used against one of my Graydles, which was kind of problematic because by the Graydle going back into my deck, it made it where I only had 1 Graydle in the graveyard instead of 2. So my salvage card was useless because I need 2 water monsters in the graveyard specifically to activate this card. So that was a pretty decent play because he could have done it on the monster that I stole, and they can get back their monster back into their deck, but they preferred their monster go to graveyard, which wasn't a big deal since they probably could bring it back from the graveyard with Call Hunters or Sword Charge. So it wasn't a bad play. It wasn't a bad play at all. Steel Swarm Roach. It's like Black Hornet Heaven, useful against a monster that's level 5 or higher that was pendulum summoned or was special summoned by, inherent summoned by his own effect, like Cyber Dragon, Blackluster Soldier, Ritual Beast, or Contact Fuse monster. Also useful against synchro summoning, monsters, obviously level 5 or higher. Downer the Magician. This is for if you ever steal with the Graydles a rank 3 monster during main phase 2, you can summon Downer the Magician. She gets 200 attack for each material attached to this card. And this card attacks a defense position monster and inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If this card attacked or was attacked after damage calculation, detach a material from this card. Cyber Dragon Infinity. If your opponent happens to have a Cyber Dragon Nova and you steal it with a Graydle, then you can, in main phase 2, summon Cyber Dragon Infinity, and he has the effect that he gets 200 attack for each material that is attached to him. Once per turn, you can target 1 other face-up attack position monster on the field and attach it to this card as material. Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So that's really good. It's kind of like a Cyber Dragon, like a Chaos Cyber Dragon. What am I saying? It's like a Stardust Dragon Assault mode. So he's a really, really good monster. So if your opponent just happens to be playing Cyber Dragon, a Cyber Dragon deck, or they just did a combo to get Cyber Dragon Nova in the field and they plan to summon an Infinity, and let's say they summon the Cyber Dragon Nova on your turn through an effect, then you can just, steal and make your own Infinity and prevent them from making their own Infinity. You get the idea. M7 can be summoned on top of a Constellar XYZ monster. So if you go up against Constellars, and you steal one of their XYZ monsters, you can summon this on top of that. Obviously, the turn in which you summon it by that effect, you can't activate his effect, but his effect is once per turn, you can detach material from this card, target one monster on the field or in either player's graveyard and return it to the hand. Good for recycling your Graydles if you want, but it's also good for just getting rid of something on your opponent's side of the field that is problematic. Not much space in my extra deck. I probably could make space if I take away wind up Zen mains. I could take them down. I don't need them as much. I could put Gaia, Charger, Gaia the Thunder Charger. There you go. Gaia the Thunder Charger, which is useful against rank 5 or rank 6 monsters. Like for example, a good strategy of this would be if your opponent has a Cyber Dragon Infinity, and let's say you play Dark Hole and they negate the Dark Hole, then you can summon a Graydle, attack, steal their Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is a rank 6, right? I mean, just stealing it is more than enough power. You don't have to do this. But this is just mainly hypothetical. You can steal the Cyber Dragon Infinity, right? And then in main phase 2, summon Gaia Charger on top of it. Just as an example. It's not an optimal play, obviously. If you can take an Infinity, keep the Infinity, obviously. Constellar Diamond can be summoned on a Teller Knight monster in case you're going up against a Stellar Knight deck, so you get the idea. It's the same thing as everything. Since you're stealing a lot of stuff, these cards are mainly for when you're doing that type of stuff, when you're stealing your opponent's monsters. And Draco Sack is just if you ever get 2 of these on the field and you need this effect, it works out great for you. The Gaia Charger, you know, obviously is a good option. You could take out Zen main for that. That's the end of the video.